very important thing because of what's happened here over the course of this election cycle, and what happens there affects us everywhere.
Well said, well said. And I think nothing is more arrogant and insincere when people are dealing with the urgency of their lives. We have an intellectual, philosophical conversation about things that are not dealing with how am I going to feed my children? I don't have a roof over my head. I have medical debt that is going to bankrupt. And while Americans are saying, what about our needs that we're having? We have this high order conversation that is going on from this ivory tower. We need to come down and meet people where they are and really talk about the everyday lives of Americans in general, specifically for me, for New Yorkers. And so to spend 4 more years of warring with the president and not working with the president is just, I'm caught up in my own, what's good for me, and that's what's good for the people that I represent. And so my conversation with the president not only does on many of the things that from a blockchain to securing our border to making our streets safe to open our country up to business and stop allowing others to intimidate us. We're going to be eating China's lunch if we don't get our act together. We have to start moving to the level that the globe is moving to, and you can't do that with a ball fist. You have to do with an open hand and say, how do we work together to make this a great city and a great country?
I love that. Make war, not war. Love that.
Ariane Boring, earlier today, at the Digital Chamber and currently being considered as chairman of the CPFC, had noted that when she started the chamber 10 years ago, there was one crypto-friendly congressman. And this year, for the first time, there's 290, which is the majority of Congress. So that means that there is bipartisan support, at least in Congress. I was about to ask a variant of the question that Rob asked about, the relationship between the president and New York City, which we may remember from decades ago, the famous headline, "Ford the City Drop Dead." So obviously that was the nadir of relationships between Republican president and a Democratic head of the city. But obviously, with the appointment of RFK Jr., there's been a lot more bipartisanship, at least going into this administration. My question is this. You're obviously pro-innovation, pro-cryptocurrency, pro-Bitcoin, as is the president. We have this little thing called the state of New York in between, and there's been some history recent of wanting to ban Bitcoin mining and wanting to do things that neither you nor the president want to do. How is that sort of politically navigated?
And what's fascinating is that what has happened in the country, in New York City is a microcosm to what's been played out across the country. The numerical minority and the loudest, they have hijacked the narrative for the everyday working people of this country. And they are small, they're a small number. Even in Albany, the anti-cryptocurrency, how it hurts the environment and all the other things that they're saying and preventing new companies from opening, they have been extremely hostile. And it's not the majority. It is a small number. They're extremely loud. They're extremely vociferous around their issues. And I believe you're going to see a turning of the tide. People are going to become more educated on what they want and how this benefits them, and is actually counterproductive to prevent the growth of an industry. And that it's going to happen. And the goal is to continue to educate in our institutions of learning, also educate the public, get people engaged, influencers, like Spike Lee was doing, coming out with his own Bitcoin. We need to get our athletes and entertainers engaged. And if you get a more younger and a more diverse group of people speaking on behalf, they're going to sway Albany. And people are moving away from those who, idealism collides with realism. And there's a lot of idealistic people who have never done anything that's moving the ball forward. And I think you're going to see a real push in the upcoming months and years. And my goal, as I was sitting down speaking with Brock and others, my goal is to have New York City as the cryptocurrency capital of the entire globe and attract a good, well-thinking body of people who can be part of that committee on laying out what are the things we must do to dismantle where we are. And then we need those in this space to start putting pacts in place, to start identify candidates who are forward thinking. We don't have to surrender our state legislative bodies to those who think they're going to hijack our way of life.
And of course, the great thing is that's already happened. I mean, the speed at which the industry mobilized with Fair Shake to go and have 48% of all corporate giving, corporate funding of PACs was from the crypto industry. It was more than Wall Street, and it was more than healthcare, which is just a blowaway number. Obviously, 85% was just on a 60 Minutes piece over the weekend. 85% of the races they backed won, and including Democrats and Republicans alike. So
and that's important. But here's what happens. In golf, there's a saying: you drive for show, you putt for dough. It's impressive to, it's good to put in presidential candidates, to put into congressional seats and Senate seats, but the rubber meets the road in local races. No one who is in your council, your aldermen, your state lawmakers, that is who want to decide these basic things. And that's what the blockage is. So I want to also balance and say, let's go identify what state houses we need to go after, with state lawmakers, with city council, because those decisions are made. That's where you put. That's where the dough is. And we need to show that same level of presence on our local races like we did on the national.
I love that, drive for show, putt for dough. Yeah, which that is, it's down to the local races. And, for those of you, how many of you have a background from New York, lived in New York, spent time in New York? I love it. So this is a room that, should care, not just because of what it means to us everywhere. You have a connection, to the place. And so, clearly post our conversations here today, I'm happy, for all of you that live locally to help organize us into a local sort of chat to be able to figure out how we can get involved, how we can be involved, how we can make that difference.
And so it's so important. You think about the shooting that took place in New York, where an angry individual took the life of someone. Went to Ivy League schools, and actually was a valedictorian. We are seeing the radicalization of our young people. And the hate towards our country. I saw one poll that showed from 18 to 34, the large number of young people that don't like America. And we're not perfect. But this is the greatest fucking country on the planet. We need to be clear on that. And because we have to go back and stop this radicalization, the targeting, and using social media, the level of depression, suicidal ideation. Our young people no longer believe in what they see in the future. And we need to embrace them and get them engaged and involved to stop this hatred that we're seeing, of the name callings, of wanting to hurt each other. And that's what scares me more than anything. Because you're known as a dynasty, what your bench looks like, using the sports analogy. And if your bench does not like the team jersey, you're in trouble. And so our minor league, our AAA, our farm team, they're coming up to play in the major leagues of life and raise families and children. And they're saying, we don't like the team. We got to go back and show them why the team is what it is. That's just so important. And I saw that during, after October 7th, I saw what unfolded on many of our college campuses, Ivy League schools. I see what we're doing to our bench. And we have to go back and change the narrative of Team America.
Yeah, make America proud again. It's like, where is that pride? that you feel in the sports sort of environment. And, we have every reason to be. We live in the greatest country in the world, and we have an opportunity to continue to make it better. We have the freedom to make it better.
And we have an example in recent decades of how it worked when everybody came together and supported a new technology. It's called the 90s. It was called the internet. We ended up coming out of the 89 crash with like really bad stock market, really bad unemployment. I remember Alan Murray from Fortune was saying, it's over with for the stock market. People are just going to move to Vermont and like farm. And then you end up having great, if you look against anything he says, but had a fortune. But basically what happened was, why did we have the greatest economy in the 90s of ever? The nation actually had a surplus and not a deficit because they let the internet grow without excessive regulation. And the opportunity we have in Bitcoin, in blockchain, in decentralized AI is at least as large as the internet if they just let it grow. And then you end up getting people excited. I mean, I remember the 90s, how people were excited to go and work for internet companies. It was like, that was their purpose of getting up in the morning instead of saying, oh, nothing is good and I don't have a job and blah, blah, blah. It's like, this is technology creates excitement among the youth and then build a greater country.
Well said. And imagine, I don't even think all of us in this room realize where we are. And I think we're going to look back at history. We're on the verge of changing how people pay for goods and services. We're moving from the barter system and, from to the coins, to the gold, to paper. We're on the verge of changing. Our children are going to look back and say, you guys are carrying around paper? Just think about where we are. And so there's some fear that's associated with it. But if we remain constant, dogmatic, and just keep forging ahead and building these coalitions, I think they are important. And some of the early pioneers, like yourself, Brock, and others who are in this room, this is a great moment to be alive as we watch this evolution and how we're going to, and really open the door for others. People are bankless, that, people don't have bank accounts. And even though I speak to my son, and I tell him, I give you a check. He said, a check? So this is exciting. These are exciting times in life. Young people need this excitement.
Yeah, the unbanked internationally, and it's also an issue here domestically. There's the debanked, there's the unbanked. There's it's a special time.
Yes.
And again, what's really exciting about what's being discussed for the first 100 days of the incoming administration is being able to actually have, banks work with cryptocurrency. And so that, if you have a crypto wallet, if you have a Bitcoin wallet, you have a 24/7, 365 bank, but there are still people who would like to accept it, don't know how to accept it, or are told regulatory reasons that they can't accept it. And when that changes, that just is a game changer. We go from a debt-based fiat economy to one that's based on value.
And that is what we want to look at. Some of the conversation I had with Rock and the Sea earlier. We want to start and incentivize using, cryptocurrency to pay for your park tickets, to use it to pay for whatever services you have. Give folks to have the option of taking their paychecks in some form of crypto.
The parking tickets, would that then become a strategic Bitcoin reserve for us?
Yes. And there's just so many incentives. And once people start seeing that, okay, it's not this complicated, because we have to break down the terminology and use a glossary that people can accept. Many people won't come into the room because they're afraid of feeling foolish in the room. And so if we give them living experiences in our public school, we want to open a cryptocurrency elementary school that feeds into a high school, that feeds into a college, and go to our public housing and create cryptocurrency villages where the stores will take cryptocurrency. People will engage in conversation on Sunday when you do your tithes and offering. The pastor will accept cryptocurrency So we want to build this groundswell from the ground up and let people feel comfortable and not ashamed to be part of this amazing industry.
Preach.
Prominent, I was to say, one of the most prominent, cryptocurrency, companies growing as fast as any company ever has is Uniswap, based in New York City, started in New York City.
Well, that's one of the things that, since we're at the tail end of this, like seeing what, the world is seeing here, knowing what's going on, in DC and kind of everywhere, I think this is the invitation. This is the time where if I'm one of the many companies that wanted to open up in New York, if I wanted to originally be headquartered in New York, it is probably the time to start thinking about that, whether you're the Tethers of the world, whether you're the Krakens of the world that obviously left early on. But this is probably the time where New York really looks like it's open for business and clearly is positioned to win.
Our brand name is Welcome to the Empire State. It's unfortunate that we spent far too many years destroying empires and not building them. We're back in business. This is the empire building mayor. Come to the Empire State.
Yeah, to everybody in the crypto world, there's probably no better city in terms of talent and opportunity for this industry. And I think there's your invitation. If you didn't know, now you know. And so I just want to make sure everybody understands this is something as an industry that we have to support. In the same way that we've shown up in elections. Mayor Eric Adams, 2025 election day is what, November the 4th? Primaries are what, 24th?
Yes.
And so I'm obviously here, to try and help in whatever way I can to support New York City and its visionary empire building leader that knows how to drive a good show and attract the dough. And I would love to also, I don't know if you've had recent conversations with RFK or Health and Human Services and some of those sort of folks. I'm just really grateful to have Mayor Adams blessing us with his presence and opportunity to connect with all of you. We're going to have a moment to hopefully swing by the VIP event that Turpin is putting on, and then we're doing a political fundraiser out in Dorado this evening for anyone that's interested. But a big round of applause to combine the TacoBytes, and of course, Eric Adams for his visionary leadership and how we put our country back together again.
Okay, and we do have dinner.